sustainable? What is long lasting? What is sustainable for humanity future? The employment or the fruit forests, the Eden, back to Eden fruit forest. There is no doubt, there is no thinking needed. We need food forests. We depend on food industry and labs and destructive monoculture. Animal cruelty. By all of this, we ending in a world full of diseases, hate, aggression, wars. There is no future with that kind of life. So the foods are processed, they are highly addictive by the toxicity. So when you crave something, it's by toxicity. So the toxicity gets stored in the brain. These toxins crave the toxic food. Clean out the vessel, clean out the body, and become a peaceful person. A person with knowledge. We don't need scientists for what? We came on Earth and we eat from the fruit trees on the equator, in the equatorial rainforest. We went away by climate change up to the north, and we were missing out the human species-specific diet. We were starting to hunt, to dive. We came into the aquatic mono diet by Stig Severinsen, diving deep to catch fish and crabs and all kind of stuff from the water. And then the way to illness and disease was starting, because many of these things you cannot eat in their raw, whole state. So your food doesn't need to be processed and long lasting for the shelf, because that is not food anymore. So the only food is living food, cooked by the sun, sun-fired food. Dr. Aris Latam. And that gives you a detox constantly in a toxic world. And then you will flush out the toxins out of the brain, and there will be no cravings anymore. Genesis 1 and 2 said, eat human food is only food that grows on the tree, the flesh with the seed inside, fruit flesh with the seed. So that is human food. And when we plant or throw the seed in our origin in the tropics, then new fruit trees will grow. Even in the north, new apple trees and pear trees and fig trees will grow. So the world is suffering with climate problems because of deforestation or monoculture, because of cattle farming, because of veggie farming, because of making space for living, homes, apartments, cities. So if everybody goes back to the Eden food forest, no matter where, we will help and reverse the climate change, because more trees shading out the soils that are exposed to the sun, grass fields, vegetable fields are exposed to the sun and drying out, and the trees will bring more shade and rain. And you know, sun and rain is the key for growing. So a food forest can supply so much, you know. For example, in the tropics, you have a jackfruit tree. A jackfruit tree might produce 10 jackfruits the first year. Just an example. But keep on going with the jackfruit. Finally, it will, like in Uganda, on the equator, can produce 200 fruits in a very old tree. Imagine 50 to 60 kilos each. How much food this can feed whole villages with such a trees. So there is a big must for reforesting with jackfruit, because that's the only tree that can give such a big food supply, and in a very fast time, because it grows very fast, a jackfruit tree in the tropics. I have jackfruit trees that produce after 3 years. And then we gonna end with less and less disease and suffering and sadness. You know, we have seen it from the past, and we still see it. So when we go to the cities, to the industries, we end always the same way, in a destructive way. So we build up, and then wars come to destroy. We build up, and wars come to destroy. That we still see nowadays in Russia. We see it in the East. We see it in Africa. We see it in many countries, and we remember the First World War and the Second World War. So it keeps on returning, building to destroy. So everybody goes back to planting trees and food trees, because Sadhguru was planting millions of trees, but those are not fruit trees. So it helps, but it would help more when it was with fruit trees. So everybody is planting fruit trees in the garden, and finally we're gonna get own food supply from with good care, because all what you get in the shops is mostly unripe, and people don't care much for soils. They do monoculture, which is very destructive. Rastafari.